I hope you're willing to tell one more longer one.
Okay.
The drone shot and your first reactions to them prepping the shots before that you're going to take the drone to the chest as the Uber Wraith.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
this story. Before we go back to the fan questions,
So, okay, so as the Uber Wraith, I'm standing over Momoa. This is what you're talking about when I'm
mm-hmm.
about to throw the final blow, and I'm too much hubris, too much gloating, standing there, and then puddle jumper Rocket shows up and hits me. So this is the first time I've ever been on a wire. And Bam Bam, again, kudos for giving me the having the confidence into me, put me on a wire for the first time ever. And it was a heel dragger, meaning when they hit the button, the wire is going to drag me heel high with this, imagine a rocket in my chest. And before all that happened, I didn't really know. I go around and I see them doing a test for this with a bag of weight matching my weight. So they put 240 pounds in this dummy bag, and then they're pressing it to see how it reacts, the ratchet. Well, I come around and watching. The first time they hit it, it goes boom and smashes into this bridge over top. It goes straight down. I'm like, what? And Bam 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 like, oh yeah, that'll be you, but we won't be doing that.
That was
That's
me.
yeah, yeah, because he's Bam Bam's got a sense of me. He's like, yeah, that's you, the bag, the dummy. Not you're a dummy, but a little bit. Anyway, he's like, we're gonna wait. We're just testing it in. We're dialing it in, and then once we get the weight right, we'll put you on this wire. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I went over to Glenn. What's a wire? How do we do this? What am I supposed to do? So on the day they get me hooked in, I'm rigged up to this wire, wearing basically a corset, like the harness that you have to wear, which is cinched up in every possible part of your body that you can imagine. And yes, there too, and locked down pretty tight. And man, my nerves. So I'm standing over. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Glenn Ennis. Glenn was down, and I was talking to him like, "What do I do?" And he's like, "Just breathe. And as soon as you hear the 3, 2, 1, hold your breath, breathe out,
Oh,
so
so
that you
Glenn
don't."
is Ronan's stunt double at this point.
Yeah, and
So
he's
you're
laying
over on
down.
top of him.
I'm over top of him, so I'm
Okay.
ready. I'm going to smack you thing, and then the direction is when they say 3, 2, 1, look up, make the motion to see that you've caught the rocket, and give room for the CGI to put that in there, and then you're going on the ride. Uh,
Jeez.
I was like, okay, okay. And it was a 30-foot ride into some barrels, and then reset 30 foot more into a wall with a pad on it. And it was his first ride ever. So anyway, I'm like, Glenn, what do I do? And he's like, just first of all, stop being a wuss. And then second of all, uh, he's just breathe out, because when you hit those barrels, you don't want to have too much air in your lungs because it'll wind you. And just, isomet like tense up and just go for the ride. Just basically they call you dope on a rope. So 3, 2, 1, look up. And I'm so glad that they couldn't see close to my face, because they would have seen dinner plate eyes and pure fear. Because it was the first ever, and I'm supposed to be like badass. And I was standing over like this, like, oh my God. Then 3, 2, 1, and off I went on this thing. I hit the barrels. I thought my kidneys went shooting out my back, because they had to have some water in them, so they looked like they weren't this token barrels put there for effect. And but that's normal. Like, and so I hit the barrels, and it all went off the way it was supposed to. And I stood up, and then they rewired me and put me into the wall, and then CGI'd an explosion in there, and it looked amazing at the end of the day. But what an experience, like a trial by fire. And
Any bruises from that?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
my lower back was pretty, on both my hip pointer, like where my hip bones were, there's bruises there. And that's about it. I mean, otherwise just like a body ache from the impact. But I'm so grateful and it was minor. Like the guy, there's, like I said, stunt guys go
Mm-hmm.
through so much more. But I'm so grateful to Bam Bam for giving me the okay to be the dope on the rope.
When would those be placed near the end of a shoot, or did it just where it fell on the schedule is where it fell? Was there a strategic decision in terms of that, just in case something would go wrong and you would be more hurt than they expected?
I'm not too sure about the follow up, but all those stunts were built on that day. So that entire fight scene was a day.
Okay.
Like hitting Glenn up, unraveled into the wall, and then
Right.
down he rolls in front of me, and then firing off the telephone pole. all of that cool butt kicking was all on the same day. And that was Glenn Ennis getting absolutely ragdolled, which again is human train wreck. I don't know how he still can walk, let alone, function. And then, yeah, my stuff too was on the same day. I don't know what the backup plan would have been because I was the only one in the makeup. And I don't know if there's too much, there's always a potential stunts for a reason, but I think, they do so much work to minimize any kind of unexpected action that Glenn's the stunt double on the day. I guess they could put somebody else on him or in him. And I guess if mine went sideways, which it never, like, it's always been good, they would just had to reschedule it.
Got it.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's just my.
Well, that makes sense. Well,
yes.
That was Cooper had only directed, I think, one at that point. I think that Sateda was his second. What was he like as a director?
He was. I think he kind of seemed like a kid in a candy shop. I think he was having a lot of fun. Like, all right, like here we go. But very cool. He commanded the set. He already has the respect for who he is and what he brings to the show and all that. So I think respect is a huge thing. He had that. Then he commanded the set because he knew what he was doing, and he had great people around him, as that whole entire family did at all times. So he was, but I think I saw a pretty big spark of joy in his eyes every time I got to see him.
I would suspect so. Dan Zimmerly, would you rather play an individual character for many years or play many different characters if given the choice?
Thanks, Dan. That's a really cool question. Starting out, when I began my career, I'd want to play many different characters to experience different elements of range and demands and what I could or couldn't do and what I could bring to different characters. The position I'm in now, which is why I love that question, I would absolutely love to be on a series for 5 years playing the same character. And like we talked about plays in the beginning, delve into that whole character's world and bring that entire history and backstory to life through that character over the course of a series. That's a really cool question. So yeah, early on, multiple characters to learn. And now, not that I'm done learning, but the big learn I would love is to take a character through a huge arc.
Explore facets.
Yeah.
Vicky Mansur.
Thanks, Dan.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Hey,
Dan.
Vicky.
Vicky Mansur, have you ever thought about writing your own show?
Is Vicky up late or early? I wonder. Because I think she's UK. Have I written? Yes. I wrote a dramedy that I'm still shopping and I'm praying to get out there. And it's I call it Californication in a toque. It's
okay.
Yeah, about a washed out hockey player whose wife has left him and his career, he's retired. I'm changing it to an MMA fighter just for the universal global appeal. Thanks to a buddy of mine, Dave Nystrom, and Carrie Dixon, we're rewriting it to be an MMA washed up, retired, forced retirement for an MMA artist whose wife's left him and he doesn't know why. And he's kind of, without having his career regressed to the only thing he knew before his career, which would have been, high school dum-dum. And he's tripping all over himself trying to get back to where he knows he needs to be. So dramedy in that, if anyone knows Californication, it's very similar, but
okay. Yeah, for the record, she's late.
Thank you for staying up late.
Well, I hope, best of luck with that. That sounds really cool. I'd watch it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm really proud of it, and I've had a lot of good feedback. I just need to get that one green light feedback, and maybe we'll get a chance.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the industry is so darn competitive.
Yeah, and there's a big demand for content. So
that's true. That's true, more than ever. So, since you've gotten Claire Burr, since you've had the chance to play so many different characters on the franchise, thank you for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving us a thumbs up with that like button. It will encourage the algorithm to show this to other Stargate fans. Also, please consider sending this to a fellow Stargate friend. I also want to invite you to subscribe to future episodes right here on YouTube. We are a live show, so changes are likely to happen all the time. And if you plan on joining us live, you'll want to be the first to know. Be sure to visit dialthegate.com for the complete guest schedule so you'll know when to join us and ask your very own questions to our guests. See you on the other side.